Hi, welcome to this episode of Janet Yong 八字 series. In this episode, I'll be sharing on the process orientation or influence structure under the traditional 八字 system. In the first episode, I talked about the action orientation or wealth structures. So in this episode, when I talked about the process orientation under the Asian personality profiling system, we're again talking about two profiles. So before I begin, if you do like this particular series, please remember to subscribe to Janet Yong YouTube channel, like the video, as well as click on the notifications bell so that you can receive a reminder whenever I upload videos. So let's begin with the lesson proper. Begin and ensure that you have your 八字 chart available. Please go ahead to download your 八字 chart from 八字calculator.janetyong.com as shown in this slide, or you can scan the QR code to get your 八字 chart. So when we are looking actually at the 八字 chart, as shown in the earlier episode on action-oriented or the wealth structures, one of the easiest way to see whether a person is of the wealth, or in this particular episode, the process orientation or influence structure, is to basically look at the month pillar itself. And in this case, so long as you see the DO, which represents diplomat or direct officer, or 7th K, which represents the 7 killings or warrior profile, these would represent that this person is born in the month of the influence structure, or what we call under the Asian personality profiling system, the process orientation. Now, what about someone who basically is not born in the month of the influence structure? When they go through process orientation or the influence structures, influences, for instance, in this particular case, this person is born on the day of yin water, but in the month of the resource structure or IR, at the luck pillar of 12 years old and the luck pillars of 32 and 42, this person basically will go through 7K, which is the water profile influence or 7 killing structure influence, the 7K at 32, as well as the full direct officer or diplomat profile influence at 42. So as always, when the influences come, you will have to pick up the skill sets to basically make sure that you do well. Now in this case, from a traditional 八字 reading perspective, you can say that this person will usually focus more on either career, and in this case, because the 八字 chart belongs to a female, focusing also on direct officer, which represents the husband, at the luck pillar of 42. Now since this episode is really about career development, let's focus more on the skill sets as to what a person, when going through the luck cycle of the process orientations, or if their base profile is that of the direct officer, diplomat, or 7K, the warrior profile, what are the skill sets they should be picking up to be successful in career? As mentioned earlier, I wrote the Being Happy and Successful series of books to help my clients understand this from a career development perspective, and in the last book, The Entrepreneur in You, is how they can understand themselves in terms of the kind of business that they can work well in as well. So we'll start off as usual by focusing on understanding yourself to know what skill sets you should be building in the longer term to be successful before we look at managing and understanding others. In the Asian personality profiling system, just a quick recap, we will first go through the day master in terms of the kind of characteristics you as an individual intrinsically have and therefore would like doing. The structure or orientation therefore defines the kind of work environment, the kind of job role that you enjoy. And similarly, like in all other episodes, the JYPQ chart as to what is your inborn talent and blind spots. If you have not, you can go ahead to download the Pulse mobile app. Search for Pulse by Trilogy either at the Apple Store or Google Play Store, or you can scan the QR code here as well. When you have finished answering the questions and keying in your information, you will basically get this chart on the day, master or element that you're born on, the orientation that influences you in terms of the job roles and work environment that you enjoy doing, as well as the JYPQ chart, which we will right now concentrate on. If you did not download the Pulse by Trilogy mobile app, by getting the career profiling report, you will also get this information on page 5 and 6 of this report. As shown in this chart, we can basically look at what kind of stronger influences in your chart in terms of what are the profiles that are within the yellow quadrant. And the most important for the longer term development for success as well as happiness is what is your base profile. In this case, what we're looking for those born on the process orientation or influence structure, it will be either the profiles of diplomat, which represents direct officer, or warrior, which represents 7K under the traditional 八字 system. Let's take a look at what motivates the profiles in the process orientation, or what we call the influence structure. There are two profiles. One is that of direct officer, or in the slide shown here, diplomat. They are fair and just, conservative, kind, and they are usually motivated by clear guidelines, systems, and what is expected of them. They are definitely not motivated when their routine gets disrupted or there are too many changes in their working environment. So if you are born in the month of influence structure or with a base profile of diplomat, you generally will enjoy a working environment that is a little bit more stable, usually provided either in the bigger companies where it's not like a startup environment where things changes too fast, or in job roles where it is more towards applying or enforcing rules, regulations, and compliance. The next profile in the process orientation is that of warrior, or 7K under the Asian 八字 system. They are basically charismatic, authoritative, and adventurous, just like a general or warrior at war. So they usually love tasks or projects or job roles that allow them to be challenged, because they get bored. A general usually will enjoy being at war than really staying at home, right? So therefore they usually love fixing problems, and they usually are very, very good and charismatic leaders as well. They are not motivated by being isolated or feeling abandoned, because they work well in more of a team environment. So the job roles that allow them to restructure, fix problems, these are usually what the 7K links or the warrior profile enjoy. So what are the 3 skill sets that basically the diplomat profile should pick up? They have the inherent talent of being reliable, disciplined, and organized. Therefore, they usually would enjoy job roles, like I mentioned earlier, more towards the operational side or caring for people, like in nursing, customer service. Therefore, the 3 types of skill sets that they should be picking up on is human and industrial relations, because they work well in the team environment. They are also good at project management. So if I'm actually implementing and starting out a project, they would be the ones that I will get on my team to ensure that everything on the checklist gets ticked off, because they are great at making sure that everyone follows the step-by-step procedures or what that needs to be done. So from a perspective of conflict resolution, they are also very good at negotiation to make sure that everybody is on board on the project. So if I'm going to a party or trying to get a project going and making sure that everybody is in line, I will usually get the diplomat profile involved. What about that of the 7K or warrior profile? Their inherent talent is being courageous, strategic, and quick-witted. So therefore, they are good at job roles that need to provide solutions, project management, as well as strategies and leaders. Because in the army, the great warriors or the great generals are usually one that will boost the morale of the entire team. So the three kinds of skill sets that is good for them to pick up besides project management is definitely the process skills like Lean Six Sigma, how to improve, waste reduction. And since they are like chess players, picking up strategic skills, looking 3 steps ahead in terms of their thinking and critical thinking would be great skills that the warrior profile should pick up as well. And because they are supposed to be great at solving problems, therefore resilience for them is critical. So exposing themselves in different kind of environments to test their resilience as well as their ability to solve problems would be great. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, we should also look at not only understanding ourselves in terms of building our skill sets, but also managing others. So at the work environment itself, one of the critical persons that we need to learn to manage is basically our boss. So in the second edition of my Being Happy and Successful series, Managing Others as well as yourself, I basically spoke about how do you understand and manage your boss in chapter 3. So let's take a look at the leadership and decision-making style of that of the process or system-oriented leaders. So for the diplomat who are fair and just, conservative and kind, they usually act as guides as well as they will basically look at participative leadership. They will look at the existing rules and regulation to ensure that you follow them. They will need to adhere to existing frameworks and rules before they can implement any of the ideas that you suggest. So if you go too much of out of the box thinking, you will need to somehow or rather follow the framework that has been set up on how these out of the box thinking will comply with the existing rules and regulations before they will usually say okay to the suggestions that you have. If you are someone who really loves out of the box thinking as well as implementing things on the go, then you may have a bit of challenge managing or communicating with this boss. So understanding what are within his or her expectation and working within those expectations would be crucial. Else you need to suggest to them and let them know what motivates you so that they will give you roles or tasks that they are uncomfortable with, but you would be glad to pick up on. What about that of the warrior or the 7 killings? Like I mentioned earlier, they're charismatic, authoritative, as well as adventurous. So they are more strategic, a leader. They are able to see potential dangers and they will prioritize their resources to execute the strategies and manage the projects well. So therefore, if you want to basically work well with them, it is good that you get their nod of approval because they can see 3 steps before you, or get to them and give them time to comment on the ideas that you have before you bring into a major meeting, because they do not like to see challenges of their authority. Just like in a war, the army general would not want you to challenge their ideas when they give you an order. This is basically the leadership styles of both the diplomat as well as the warrior profiles. And if you would like to know more, you can get our new complete 八字 career profiling report, which will give you not only your career profile, your orientation, suitable job roles, but also the favorable elements based on your 八字, which I will cover in subsequent videos in the future. Thank you for watching this episode. I'll see you in the next episode when I'll talk about the idea orientation or the output structures. In the meantime, if you do enjoy these 八字 series on my channel, please remember to subscribe to Janet Yong YouTube channel, like and share the video with your friends if you think it will benefit them, and click on the notifications bell so that you receive a reminder when I upload new videos in the future. See you the next time.